Welcome to Woodshop 101, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Now meet the yin and yang of woodworking and the lady that keeps them in line, Jeremy, Drew, and Sam.
Welcome to episode number 63. Tonight we're going to talk about our favorite projects and accountability. We are joined tonight by our guest host, Russ Claridy of Simply Wooden Creations. What's going on tonight, Russ?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just kind of hanging around waiting for y'all guys to call me.
Well, we got to wait on Drew. It's pretty
Sorry,
over there.
I was watching Rudolph with my daughter.
Don't blame it on your daughter. That is not nice.
Dude, she's part of my show now. I can blame it on her as much as I want.
No.
I was actually watching it also.
You were watching Rudolph, and she was watching it with you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
You were the one wanting to watch Rudolph.
I think I have ruined that movie for myself because we were watching it and I was sitting here thinking, this is a horrible movie. It's all about discrimination.
That's true.
Yeah, whole thing.
Hopefully,
actually look at it. Look at the animation that they used back then. It's like when the abominable snowman comes running up and his hair moves. It moves in different stages.
Yeah, nice little stop animation kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
I saw the preview for it today, and they're like, "Oh, Rudolph the Reindeer is coming to TV tonight, and it's in all new HD."
Now you can see all the flaws.
Yeah, how HD do you want to get with this?
Actually, I can watch it anytime I want. We have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I've been thinking about buying it for my kids. It's cheap on Amazon. I think it's $8 or $9. So
I think that we found it in Walmart one day for $10 or something a few years back. So I purchased it.
Yeah. So, but if I do that, then I'm gonna have to get Frosty the Snowman for my wife, and then Santa Claus is coming to town. So
got it.
See, we buy all our stuff on Apple TV, so we got all the digital stuff. And I've got Christmas Story and Griswold's Family Christmas and Jingle All the Way. A lot of this stuff we watch every year. We went ahead and bought, so we can just watch it anytime we want.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. But no, so we still buy the DVDs, but we buy the Blu-ray DVD digital combo pack. That way, when we're on road trips and stuff, my son and my daughter still have the DVDs to watch in the car on their DVD players. But then around the house, we just stream all the digital copies everywhere else. So
yeah,
it works out.
I have to prep because if Hannah needs to watch a movie in the car, I have to pre-download it from iCloud to my iPad so she can watch it on the way.
Yeah, and we'll do that with some of the movies to his iPod, but our road trips are usually from Texas to South Carolina.
So you need 9.
Yeah, and not that. I need 18 because I got 2 kids, and neither one of them want to watch the same thing at the same time. They fight over Alvin and the Chipmunks. So
very funny.
We have I think we purchased all the old classics over the years for the grand. Well, I had some of them for my kids, but my kids are all grown now. But mostly for the grandkids now, so they can watch them.
Yeah. So I can't believe it's already that time of the year. We went and walked around the block and went Christmas light looking tonight, and it's just man, where did this year go? I mean,
yep.
You realize, Drew, we're about to turn 2, so we're about to start our 3rd year. This is crazy. So, all right. Well, what do you have going on in your shop, Drew?
I have a lot of gym floor destruction going on right now. I've got 3 slabs of that gym flooring in my shop that I am slowly taking apart and denailing right now. So,
what are you doing with all this gym floor?
Now, if you haven't seen the videos, or if the people listening haven't seen, my brother and I are working on a desk unit, a 3-piece desk unit for a client that is going to have metal incorporated with the gym flooring. So we've made the skeleton of the desk already, and now we got to incorporate all of the hard maple into the center sections to kind of fill in the skeleton.
So this desk is taking you a lot longer than you anticipated it taking you.
I had a feeling it was going to take a while just because I have to travel to Ada to do all the metal work with my brother and then coordinate schedules for him to come up here and do all the woodworking parts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's taking a while.
I'm behind on everything. Being gone for 2 weeks, like I have probably 30 podcasts I got to listen to. I got a list of videos. It's like every day I'll listen to like 1 or 2 podcast episodes of my favorite podcasts, but then 3 more are released the same day. It's like I'm never going to catch up. The same thing with videos. I'm like, all right, I'm cracking through my watch later list, and then all of a sudden I got to add like 10 more. And I'm like, man, I'm never going to get caught up. I'm going to be behind by like 3 or 4 weeks on everybody's stuff. So
I'm that way.
I'm always behind. I can't get caught up to watch other people's videos. I can barely get my videos out recently.
Yeah. I mean, I finally have the electrical in the shop, and I can't even get out there to get it organized just to get it somewhat workable. So it's time. Now that Christmas season is here, it's going to be even harder because we're going to be out doing all the Christmas shopping stuff. I think Amazon's going to be my friend this year. Order and have it delivered.
He's been my friend for a few years.
Didn't I have an agreement? I can't remember if I made it with you and Steve Carmichael or you and Todd Clippinger that I was going to touch the lathe and do a project before the end of the year.
Me and Steve.
See, that's been a while. I can't even remember.
But what was it? You said I have to send you a pin first.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So you might get out of this unscathed because I was actually driving home from work today thinking about that. I was like, man, I need to get him a pin made. So, but then it's going to put pressure on you because if I get it made and get it sent to you, you're going to have like 2 weeks left of the year to get one
don't
made.
do it.
It probably won't happen. So, because right when I'm like I'm on a push now. I want the table done. I want to eat Christmas dinner on the table. But my son, for some reason, in the last like few weeks, has gotten like this really into I want to build stuff with Dad, and so every day he's like, "Oh, let's build something. Let's build something." And I'm like, "We can't just build anything. We have to think about it. We got to figure out the material." So finally now, we are going to start on a Christmas tree stand. He's got a little 4-foot Christmas tree that he's going to put upstairs in the game room for him and his sister. They're going to decorate it whatever they want. But the plastic stand on it last year or the year before broke. And it's cheap, like dollar stand from the dollar store or something. And I was like, well, if you want to do it, I was like, well, let's build a new tree stand. It's going to be very rudimentary. There's going to be no fine woodworking in it, but it's something to get out there and knock out a project quickly in the day with my son, and get him some hands-on with basic tools. But he's already talking about other projects. Like he's like, all right, well, we got to build Code and Sick new dog bowls, like their dog bowl holders, and we got to build. He's like, oh, we got to build the baby gate for the stairs, Dad. And it's just like, dude, slow down. You're gonna kill me with projects. I can't even get the ones done that your mom wants. So
yeah, Hannah's bird feeder that we made a while back still hasn't been put out with bird feed in it yet.
I mean, it's wintertime. Were the birds out?
Well, you're supposed to give them feed during the wintertime so they have stuff to eat, but summertime I really don't do it. Not all birds.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not a bird watcher.
And I guess it depends on where you're at, too.
True.
I mean, if
I'm in the South, so
I'm in Florida, so they can't go much southern than this.
So, yeah, and I was telling you guys right before we started recording, I was actually doing some hand planing on the table to get it prepped for finish in the house, and I'm still alive, so that's probably a good thing. But I'm gonna imagine by Monday the base will be completely finished with have all the finish put on it. So that's what I'm hoping for. I already told the wife that she's gonna have to help me.
Didn't I say that the table would be done by December?
I don't know. At this point, everybody has beaten what I've said, so.
I could have swore I said December, and you said, wow, that's earlier than I anticipate. And I said, I know, I don't understand. I think you might have it done by December.
So, not by December. I will have the base done by December. But by the end of December, my goal is to actually be eating on it on Christmas. So that means I got to get moving because the base has to have time to fully cure, and then the top is going to have time to cure. So, but notice what's not on top of it anymore.
Yeah, I know. The top.
I decided the lumber that I had on there I didn't like, so that went out to the wood rack, and I'm going to buy some more probably next week after I get this one off the base all finished. So
Russell, you have to watch him because he says that he's going to do something, and then when he does it, he's never satisfied with it, so he takes it to the recycling center and gets rid of it. So you kind of have to watch what he does sometimes.
Yeah, but see, you'll be able to see because this one sits behind me. Every time we record, it's right there. So if sometime it's magically not there, you'll know where it went.
I know. I've seen its progress and deprogress over the past few episodes. So
yeah, it's going. I'm thinking probably tomorrow or Thursday I will probably get to start putting the first coat on. But she wants the fancy finish, the antique painted finish. So that's 4 different stages of finish to get it looking properly and clear coated. So she's gonna have to help. That's just the bottom line. So what's going on in your shop, Russ?
I was just going to say a few seconds ago, talking about your son wanting you to help or wanting to build stuff reminds me of my grandson, Gage. Whenever he comes over, that's the first thing. As soon as he walks through the door, Papa, are we doing a YouTube video today? So he wants to build stuff and do YouTube videos. He loves it. He loves being in the shop, loves being in there doing things with me. So I try to schedule things and have them ready so that when he gets here, or if I know he's coming when he gets here, that we can do and make something, or so we can build video it and put it up. But in my shop, I've got a couple of things. I just finished. You were talking about building or making a pen. I just finished making a pen for a friend of mine, Chris Ahern. He's on my show every week, and he had a friend that was a Marine that was having a birthday or retiring, something. I think it was retiring. And he wanted a Marine pen. Well, I don't know if y'all know, but all the Marine emblems and everything that goes with the Marines Corps is copyrighted and trademarked. So you just can't get that stuff anywhere, not legally anyway. Yeah. So I finally, you can't find stuff to make a pen that has the emblem or anything on it, but you can buy most of the time. And I stumbled across one on, I believe it was eBay, a guy that makes them. And he claims he has the rights to use it or whatever. But anyway, it was not very expensive. It was only like $18 for the blank. And so I ordered it in and turned the pen out of a 30 caliber bullet pen, and with gunmetal, and put it on there and sent it to him. Chris got it, and they're supposed to be giving it to him. He's really happy with it. The first one actually didn't make it here. It was supposed to have been here like a Tuesday or Wednesday and didn't show up. And I called the guy, and I go through PayPal, so I got another. He had to send me another pen blank, but the first one never. It's out there in Neverland. It never showed up. But other than that, yeah, it's definitely lost. I felt sorry for the guy, but I mean, I didn't get it, and so and he sent it through. I think he had insurance on it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But the other thing I'm doing is my son is now as a law enforcement officer. He was a Marine and got out of the Marine Corps, and came home, went through police academy and finished that. So he got a job with our local sheriff's department in the county. And he wanted me to build him a rack to be able to hang his tactical gear on. And so I'm making a rack for him to be able to hang his like gun belt or with all of his stuff on there, and then his bulletproof vest, a place where he can put his rifle, and then we're going to put a lock box up there for his handgun that he can put it in and lock it up. And then also we're going to mount the top of his charger for his walkie-talkie, and so he'll just come in and stick it in that, and it can automatically start charging. So I've been working on the plans for probably about 3 or 4 weeks, trying to decide how I wanted to do it and what it was going to look like. So I finally came up with something, so I started building on that. So hopefully here in the next day or two, I'll have it finished and ready for him.
That's awesome.
Russell's making me feel like very underproductive.
I mean, if you're underproductive, then what does that make me? Non-productive?
I thought about making it. It's kind of, you say it's gonna. I think it's gonna look pretty good. I thought about making it with like 4x4, but I have searched this everywhere for 4x4s, and you can't find anything worth the quality unless you go to something really, really expensive. Yeah. And so I was trying to keep the cost down because now that he's working for the sheriff's department, I thought, well, wow, if he takes pictures of this and shows it to his other friends, maybe I might sell a few of them. I'm thinking. So I'm trying to keep the cost down. So I made it out of 2x4s. I ripped them down instead of 3.5. I took a 1/4 of an inch off of each side, and so it would make them 3 inches. And then I'm going to glue them together, but I'm going to glue them together in sections. And then where the 2x4 joins, if you see that little crack, I'm going to do a piece of like 1/2 inch or maybe 3/4 inch by 1/4 inch material and run it down that seam, and then I'll paint the stand black and then paint the 1/4 inch material blue, so you'll have a thin blue line running down the.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, well, you'll definitely have to send us pictures once you start getting it done. We'll put them in the show notes.
Sure.
So.
All right. Very cool. Well, I see we got a few questions that have come through as of late. And these questions are kind of going to be our talking points for this particular show. So, Jeremy, were these sent to you? Because I certainly didn't get them.
Yeah, I got them.
Okay. Makes me, like I said, underproductive. All right, we got our first one from Thomas Green. He said, I was looking back through old projects the other day, and I found it hard to pick which one was my favorite to build. What is your favorite project that you have built, if you can even pick one? So, Russell, you're our guest. Why don't you start us off?
Oh, thanks. I don't have a favorite project. I'm a lot older than y'all two guys, so I've done a lot of projects over the years. I think I have, I guess one of my favorite ones would be years ago. I would say probably in 1982 or 83. I built a little house that was a clock, and this was all made out of cedar. I bought my first scroll saw in 1979, so in like 81 or 80. Yeah. So I'm a little older than y'all. So anyway, so in 82, 83, I built this cedar house, and what I did was took the cedar and I cut it down into real thin. I'm talking about less than 1/8 of an inch, but not a 1/16, as thin as I could get it on a table saw. And then I took the pieces and cut them on the scroll saw and made actually cedar wooden shingles for the whole roof. So these things, the birdhouse can't be more than 10 or 12 inches high, maybe 6 or 8 inches by 6 or 8 inches. So we're talking about small cedar shingles all over that roof, hundreds of them to make it up. And so it turned out remarkably well. I did even the little windows. I cut the little things out. I took a solid piece of wood and then cut out the panes so that the wood would be in between where the panes would be. And I even took plexiglass and went on the inside and put the plexiglass on the inside so it would look like glass in the windows. Made the door. It looks realistic. Put flower boxes underneath the windows. Looks real, fascia board on it and everything. So I think that one would be one of my favorite ones. Even made it big enough that I could put a hole in the back where you can stick your hand through to change the battery, and put the clock mechanism in there. And then I bought the clock kit, which came with the numbers for the dial, and I designed it also that it would fit into the peak of the gable end. So the clock sits actually at the top of the gable end, and you can reach through the hole in the back and change the battery anytime, or I could actually change the whole clock mechanism if you want to. So that was probably that's probably my favorite.
You have a picture of that?
I actually do. I still have that clock. It still works with the same mechanism. It's right now our woodworking club that I'm in had the Mulberry Cultural Center had a thing on woodworkers, and our woodworking club took some of our favorite stuff down there and put it on display so people can come by and see it. So it's sitting in the Mulberry Cultural Center. That little clock is sitting there in Mulberry Cultural Center right now, so people can see it. And I've already had 3 people ask me if I wanted to sell it, and I told them no.
Well, that's cool. We had like these favorites that we're doing. If we have pictures, we got to put those in show notes too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so what about
that sounds pretty cool.
What about you, Jeremy? You're not prepared, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I was actually thinking about this earlier. I don't know if I can pinpoint one, but the first one that sticks out in my head is a pair of like sofa server tables that I built for a commission for a guy. Actually, I kind of missed the guy because he paid me a lot of money when I was in Texas. I mean, he was. Yeah, I'm starting to think about it, man. Yeah, when I was in Texas, he was my ongoing customer. I mean, he'd buy 15 or 20 pins from me at a time, and I'd cut him a pretty good deal because he would resell them. He had like a little shop down in Galveston, Texas, that he would, do like garage finds and upcycles and stuff. And he bought several pieces of furniture from me. Well, he bought these. I saw these sofa servers from Pinterest or something. He's like, yeah, hey, I really like these or whatever. And he couldn't give me much on it, man. And I was like, dang. He was like, I want this exact same design. And I couldn't figure out, for some reason, I couldn't piece together measurements and get it to where like I liked it and it looked good. And I couldn't find like where he got this picture. And finally, after just weeks of research, I came across they were the plans. It was a picture from the plans out of Wood magazine back in like March of 2013 or something. And so I finally found them, and I built these things out of solid red oak. And the panels turned out just like with some crazy grain, because the front of them where I did like a shaker style paneling design, and then just on the top, is solid. But the way it turned out was just like a crazy grain. I've never seen red oak have this kind of grain in it. And so like every time I see this picture, I'm like, man, I want to build me some of those. And so that's been put on my list to build myself. But I think that's probably got to be one of my favorites, just because it sticks out in my head that the most vivid project I've built. So, what about you, Drew?
I think people remember their probably their first biggest project. Like when they mainly started woodworking is probably their favorite because they didn't think they could pull it off. And that's kind of how mine ended up being. When I first started woodworking, after getting married, I was doing craft shows and just building, little knick-knack stuff here and there. And then I was approached by a friend of the family of my wife's side, and he wanted me to build him a pipe organ console. And the only parts that he had on hand were the 3 keyboards, and that was it. I didn't even have the foot pedal assembly, so I was like, well, I guess I can try. So he put together, and this is the first time I was introduced to SketchUp, and he put together a SketchUp plan. And I'm here to tell you that this dude was very analytical, and he gave me measurements down to the eighth of an inch, basically. And he said that now this is all on guidelines, the Pipe Organ Guidelines Association of America, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. And he said, this has got to be a certain height here. This has got to be a certain height there. This has got to be a certain width here. And it's got to fit within these guidelines, because if it doesn't fit, then I can't use it. I was like, oh, great. So I ended up taking the keyboards and making a set of cheeks to go on either side of it, and they stacked up in a stair-step fashion to where they would actually slide into the top portion of the console. It also had an equalizer hole cut out, so he can slide that in for all of his equipment to be operated right there. A toggle switch on and off to turn all the electronics. Had speakers on either side, so I had to accommodate for those on the tabletop. Then the top of the console had a removable music note stand that was actually located by dowel pins. And the bench was the first time I'd ever done bent lamination. And I mainly, the inset was plywood, but I did bent lamination to frame it out. And first time I'd ever done that. Didn't have the tools necessary to do that, but I did it anyway. What else? Oh, I like spline joineries. That's the first time I've ever done that, because I had to utilize splines in a few of my joints. So that project took me every bit of it, I would say 3 months to complete, because I was doing it after I got home from work and on the weekends. It was made out of all red oak and red oak ply. And I didn't make any money off of it. The amount of time and the amount of money I spent on materials, I probably made about $400 when I should have made about every bit of $2,000.
They actually have a Pipe Organ Association of the World.
Yeah, see? That's where all those guidelines come from.
Look, there's more associations for things than I don't know. I sat through some training back in 2008 now. Actually, about this time in 2008. And it was when I first was taking some instructor training. A guy was teaching us about cornhole, the beanbag toss game. And there's a cornhole association that builds the guidelines for the boards. Like the boards have to be of certain size, and the hole has to be placed in a certain area. It has to be of certain size. The boards have to be so many feet apart, and the bean bags or the cornhole bags, they got to be certain size with weigh a certain amount, and it has to be with dried corn. And I was like, crap, dude! Like, this is getting like intense. I thought it was just a backyard game when you're out drinking with your buddies and throwing some bean bags around.
No, they actually have contests and for that. The reason I know is because we've been playing it for years, so I'm aware of all that. But my thing about that is they have to be exactly 2 foot by 4 foot. Mm-hmm. The boards do. Okay. Now, most people cut 2 sets out of 1 4x8 sheet of plywood. I want to know how you do that and get 2 foot by 4 foot. Because every saw blade that I know of is 1/8 of an inch, or most of them are, unless you have a real super thin one. I have one that's a dime thickness, but still you're losing that out of every cut, out of 3 cuts in that plywood. So if it's a 1/16 of an inch, you've lost 3/16 of an inch. They're actually not 2 foot by 4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they may be face frame or not face framing it, but just putting edging on it to cover up the fly.
Nah, everyone I've seen, everybody cuts 2 sets out of 1 sheet.
Yep. I mean, I guess if you're playing in,
if it's your backyard, who cares?
Yeah, I guess if you're playing in like a big tournament, they may, have measured in regulation, but I don't know. I thought it was crazy. So associations for everything.
Yeah. And I used some of those guidelines for cornhole when I made my cornhole game. I didn't make it to exact specifications, but I did do a lot of the recommendations.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's supposed to be like 4 inches off the ground in the front. It's supposed to be 12 inches off the ground in the back. Mm-hmm. I mean, it goes on and on and on. They got everything down to detail about that.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, we've got another question here from a Mark Matthesion. Actually, Mark Mathis, if that's right.
Yeah,
Mark Matthesion. Maybe it's Matthesion.
Matheson, I don't know.
Matthesion, I don't know. It's French. Pardon me if I butchered your name, Mark.
We're alienating our listeners. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Okay, Drew and Jeremy, excellent show. It is one of my favorite podcasts. I really miss Sam as well. Well, who doesn't miss Sam?
Yeah.
I bet you even Russell misses Sam.
I don't know who Sam is.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Sorry.
Says, my question is, I've had a hard time keeping myself accountable and on track with my goals. I have heard about Mastermind Groups or an accountability partner before. Are you guys part of a mastermind group? And if so, do you find it helpful to stay on track with your goals? I am part of a mastermind group. However, we have not met yet. As far as online, we haven't really met. We just formed the group not too long ago. Actually, I was just invited to it. So I was like, okay, sure. Sounds good. But I think my mastermind group is really my wife. That's the only person I think that keeps me on task. And sometimes that doesn't even work because we get so busy with life. Jeremy and I have discovered recently that we did a podcast not too long ago on goal setting and how we achieve those goals. What do we do extra to help achieve those goals? And he and I recently learned that writing things down in a planner has really helped us stay on track. But even then, like I said, life sometimes gets in the way. So, and just answer to the question, I am part of the mastermind group. I haven't really met with them yet, but I haven't found really anything in particular that works too well because, like I said, life always gets in the way.
Yeah. What about you, Russ?
What the heck is a mastermind group?
There we go.
I have no clue what you're talking about as far as a mastermind group. Do I plan things? Yeah, I have a planner that I write things down, and actually it's on my computer and it transfers over to my iPhone. So it's called a calendar.
There you go.
But set it up on my computer, and then try to remind myself that I have a time schedule, especially if I'm doing something for. I'm doing a project to sell. Somebody orders it. Then I've got a time constraints there that I have to set up and go by. And I was trying to get a video out every Friday, and that went to heck and back as far as.
That's hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's family has a way of getting in the way. It's not in the way per se, but you know what I'm saying. It's
take precedence.
Yeah, things come up, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and then I had a friend of mine, which y'all may know, Steve French from Wood and Stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, he was moving into his new shop, and so I went and helped him move his tools and some of the, man, this guy's a wood hoarder. I'm talking about, I don't think either one of y'all have as much wood together as much, and me included, as this guy's got. I have a 1-ton dually Dodge diesel truck. I had the bed and a 20-foot trailer slap full, and then we went back after 2 more loads. So this guy's got a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, so just got in the way. So I had that scheduled for I was going to start a video on Monday and have it released by Friday. Well, that went to the wayside. I haven't been able to do that. And so, yeah. Well, what is your, what did you call it? Your mastermind thing or whatever?
Yeah,
what is that?
So Mastermind Group. And so to kind of push my way in on it, I am not part of a mastermind group. And I've kind of given it some thought. So from my understanding, it's kind of, it's a group of peers, and they don't necessarily have to be in the same profession as you, or in the same area of trade. But it's somebody that you can, like a group that you can bounce ideas, business ideas off of, personal ideas. It's kind of, I guess, a close-knit group for you to kind of help share and determine if you're going on the right track. And it's people to keep you accountable for things. So you say, hey, look, guys, I really want to put out a video twice a month, but I'm having a hard time doing that. I get myself distracted, this and that. Well, then you have this group, they hold you accountable, so, they may reach out to you once a week and be like, hey, all right, what's your progress on the video coming out for next week? And, I haven't really had time, or I've been doing this and that. Okay, well, hey, look, you have this many days left. All right, so let's think about some ways that we can get you productive to where you can get that video out. So it's it's a group of people to help keep you accountable, and in my mind, to have a group of a variety of people, not necessarily maybe all woodworkers, because they can give you a different outlook. They can give you a different outlook on business and marketing, and so it's something that I think will broaden your horizon as a business. So no, I'm not part of one. Have I seriously considered starting one? Yes, I have. I've thought about it a lot over the last year, and really in the last month, I've thought about it even harder. And it all comes down to who do I approach to get in on the mastermind group, and who's not already in one, because most people, don't necessarily have time for 2 groups, because they meet, maybe once a week or once a month or whatever it is. And so it really trying to set one up is pretty hard. But really, for that accountability is why I'm looking at trying to get into one and bounce ideas. My wife's there and it's great, but like Drew said, at the end of the day, that's my wife. She's my family. So that's going to take precedence. If she wants to go do something, instead of me spending a couple hours in the shop, then I'm going to go do those things. And it may get me off track. Well, then, having somebody outside that family circle that's trying to help keep you accountable for things and help you reach those goals, I think might be a little more positive aspect than just relying on my wife to be the enforcer all the time. And a good example of that was like last night. I was trying to take advantage of a Black Friday sale, order some new business cards, but I hadn't hammered out my design. I was like, hey, she was like, oh, I want to watch TV. Let's watch a show or whatever. And I was like, babe, I'm sorry, but I got to get this done. Like, it's got to be done tonight. And I got to get this design done. I got to get uploaded. I got to get ordered all before midnight. And get to kind of tell she was upset about it because I was not picking her. But at the end of the day, like, she understands it's business stuff, but she wanted me to pick her at that particular moment. Having that mastermind group or those accountability partners they can get you from procrastinating, because could I have done it earlier in the day, or could I have done it over the weekend? Yes. Did I? No. I procrastinated until the last minute. And what did it do? It put, strains on other things. So that's more or less what it is, right, Drew?
Yeah, that was Reader's Digest version, sure.
So
I've never heard of it.
I didn't hear it. I first heard about 2 years ago, and I didn't, I thought it was something like successful business people that are making, 6-7 figures a year, something they did. And then slowly but surely, I just started hearing more and more about people doing it.
When you first started talking about it, I was going to interrupt and say, I know what that is now. I have one, a WIFE.
Yeah. So
my wife's really good about things like that. Like tonight, I told her, I said, actually, she's known about I was going to be on the podcast for a couple of weeks now, but she's really good about things like that. Well, when you get to be our age, it's like we've been around each other long enough that, it's okay to go away for a little while.
Yeah.
It actually feels good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's there. So I mean, to answer your question, Mark, I'm not in one. Do I want to get in one? Yes, I think I really do. To see if it motivates me, okay, because really, so we're floating on 2 years now that we've published goals on the first episode of every year for the last 2 years, and this will be the second year I've not met those goals, and it's because I've used the excuse of life happens a little too much, and I think having those accountability people there would have maybe helped me stay on track a little bit better. So I really it's coming to light now. Like, all right, here's year 2 coming to a close. 3 years on the table. In fact, it was 3 years on the 13th of this month that she'd been waiting on that table. That it's been finished like that for 3 years. So I definitely think I'm going to be trying to either get into one or set one up by the first of the year. So I go into the new year being held accountable for stuff. So,
all right, you heard it here first. He said by the end of the year, he's going to have one set up.
Or part of one. So if anybody's out there wants to invite me to one, make my life a little bit easier.
True that.
Than for me to keep trying to approach to find people to get into one.
I don't think I've ever had a project take 3 years.
I mean, look,
sorry.
It's not a small table, but it's not big either. I think the base is somewhere around 36 inches or so by 5 feet by 60 inches. It took up a pretty good chunk of my floor space in my shop for the last 3 years.
Ever since the podcast started, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all we talked about. It's like, so how's the table coming? It's like every episode. How's the table coming?
I don't know what I'm going to do when that table's done. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. Well, when the sofa table left and went to the recycle bin, that kind of took about half our conversation out.
Yeah.
See, I'm the type of person that I like projects that I can. My projects are stuff that I can do and do fast. In other words, if I took 3 years, I would have lost interest in that sucker a long time ago.
Well, and that's part of the reason is I started it and I had a lot of interest in it, but then I was still heavily taking on commissions, and that's, it's not a paying project. It got pushed to the back burner several times.
Yeah.
And then it had been so long I lost motivation. And now finally, when I moved here this summer, I was like, all right, I'm putting it in the house. I'm going to see it every single day. That's going to be my motivation. And it's actually worked pretty well. It would have been done before now if I wouldn't have been for the lack of power in the shop. finally I got electricity, so I'm able to run power tools now.
I like projects I can do in a couple, 2 or 3 days at the most, and move on to another one.
Yeah. These bigger projects, I don't know, because after this, she wants me to build a dresser. We'll see.
Tell her, like, what anniversary on you? Like 10? Tell her, like, 16th anniversary. We'll have that done.
It will probably actually get done because it's a partnership with Craig that is supposed to be getting done. And I'm a little behind on it, but hey, it'll get done. So. All
right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's new. Not a whole lot. By the time you hear this, our giveaway for the Workshop 3000 will have ended. It actually ended on November 1st. No, December 1st. Yeah, December 1st. And we took a few weeks off through the Thanksgiving time frame. I was out of town for a few weeks, and we're like, all right, we're just going to spend it with family. We're going to take another 2 weeks off around Christmas and New Year's. However, we're still going to try to put out some content. So we're going to try to at least get some content done ahead of time that we can put something out. Hopefully we might be able to get something scheduled with Sam. If she has some time, we'll have to see. But I am going to we're going to put out a holiday episode. It's going to be a pretty unique thing. And I don't want to divulge a lot of details because I want you guys to be excited about it when you see it. But if you want to be involved in the holiday episode, then reach out to me and I will get you involved. But I'm hoping to get enough people that makes it, probably a 15 to 20 minute episode. So if you want more details, reach out to me. We want anybody that wants to get involved, and I will divulge more of that in an email to you. So our next guest host, is this still set, Drew?
Oh, I'll make it set. It's okay.
Okay. Mine's not set yet either, but I mentioned it to her and she told me no. I said too bad. So
yeah, mine's kind of doing that too, but yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
All right, so our next guest host it's going to be pretty unique. If you're having trouble with a significant other taking your hobby or business serious, or they just want to hear some valuable input, we highly recommend you bring your significant other along and listen to the next guest host. So it'll be probably three shows from now. This show, not the next show, but the one after that. It'll be pretty interesting. We'll just leave it at that. I can't tell you where it's going to go. It might get us in a lot of trouble. So,
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. We actually probably need to discuss this episode before too long and maybe get some questions because if we go into it and they see us just like chit chat like we do now, then they're gonna be like, all right,
you guys aren't for real.
You guys need to quit this. So, all right. Well, you want to get into some feedback?
Yeah, we got a couple of them from Lemon Grove Craftsman. I sent an email. It should be Wood Gnome, I think.
Yeah,
Lemon Grove Wood Gnome.
I think, yeah. I don't know why it's Craftsman, but I think it's Lemon Grove Wood Gnome. It is because I looked it up.
We renamed you.
Sorry.
It says, I sent an email about the whole leaving your current job to pursue woodworking as a full-time gig a few months ago, and I have to give props to Todd for keeping it real. I've been wondering about that myself, but those on YouTube who quit their full-time job to do woodworking don't really talk about their struggles and how their lives compared before and after. Thanks, Todd, for shedding some light on this subject. I'm sure there is more to the transition than we know, and I'm sure he's very right about that. Unfortunately, I am not able to shed a lot of light on that, but Todd really had some good insight about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's see. We got one from Todd Clippinger, as a matter of fact. And he said, wow, you stayed on track with keep the short episodes short on episode 62, which was our last episode.
Yeah, which is, if you go back to the 3 episodes ago, I guess, our short episode was like 45 minutes, and our long episode was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So we actually kept it short. With Shane, I think we kept it at around like 20 to 25 minutes. So
yeah, it was a lot of information to cover.
Yeah. So all right, well let's get into some product recommendations here. Russ, you wanna go first? Recommend product?
Sure. One of my sponsors, matter of fact, and I really like their product, is FastCap, and I love their 2P10 kit. It's super glue for wood. I believe there is a difference in some of the super glues as far as ones that will work with wood a little bit better than others. And from using the 2P10 kit, from my experience, it works really, really well with wood. It comes in, I believe, three or four different viscosities. There's like thin, medium, thick, and then gel. It also has the activator, a bottle of activator that comes with it, with a spray thing on top. And then you also have some brushes. It comes with the debonder. There's a bottle of debonder in there. That's for if you stick your fingers together. Hopefully you can use the other hand and get get the bottle open and pour it on there and get your fingers apart. It'd be heck if you stuck your hand to your face or something like that. I don't know how the heck you would get that off. But anyway, but the 2P10 kit comes with little brushes, some other accessories and everything. But I really find that it's a great kit. It's very, very affordable. $30 for all that kit that you get. Plus, it comes in a nice little carrying case, and for the bottles are of good size. They're a lot larger than most of your bottles that you buy at like some of the big box stores. So, for the product that I would recommend is the I'll get it in a second. FastCap 2P10 kit.
Better be careful. That's your sponsor.
I know.
Do you use 2P10 on your pens?
Yes, I use it on my pens.
I've wondered about that because I use Satellite, I think, Satellite super glue, and I've wondered about the 2P10 if it would turn out a pretty good finish on the pen.
It turns out fantastic. I've never had a problem with it. And then I did a test here on my show here, about a month or so, maybe a month ago, something like that. But I took a lot of the glues, and we actually did a test right on live, and the 2P10 held up very good. In other words, I took some of the medium or the gel and put the activator on another piece of 2x4 and stuck them together and held them there for like 7 seconds. I couldn't get them apart. I took a hammer and literally beat on it to prove, and it finally broke. But when it broke the wood with it. So it works very, very well. Great for pens. Nice. I've used it on a lot of plastic. I've used it on several ceramic. My wife had something ceramic break, and I glued it back together, and it works great on a lot more things than just wood. You can use it on.
I think I'm gonna end up having to give it a try because I think Todd recommended it. I think, or we talked about it on one of the shows, and he was a high proponent of it. So,
who?
Todd?
Todd? Who's this Todd character?
So, yeah, it's interesting that you said that because that's I've really been thinking about that, and I use primarily my super glue is for pens or for turning items. So that's that's good to hear that you got some real world experience using it on those items. Because things like the stick fast, a lot of people have problems with that cracking, and I'd be really mad if I turned a pin and then my finish cracked and I had to turn the finish off of it. So
I haven't been turning pins that long. I started about in the last 6 months, I would say I've been turning pins. But of all the ones that I've turned, and from day one, I started using a Fast Caps 2P10 on them. I haven't had any problems. Any of them come back with any cracking or anything.
All right, well, I will. I think you made a believer out of me. I'm gonna have to test it out. So, what are you gonna recommend, Drew?
Well, in doing the metalworking and woodworking as of late, my brother introduced me to some grinding discs that I really didn't know existed. All I thought were the really hard abrasive kind that takes welds off in like one pass. And since we were working with pretty thin square tubing, we were using something less abrasive that wouldn't dig down into the metal so bad. So I am recommending the Diablo grinder flapper discs. And I put those in the video that I posted last time. And there was actually 2 separate grits that we purchased, a 40 and a 60. And I was amazed by how well that those sandpaper discs took those welds down to flat bare metal. It was just ridiculous. And the amount of scratches that they leave are so minimal, especially if you work up in the grit, go to 40, 60. And I don't know if they make any higher than that because I didn't really see any there, but maybe they do. But you can minimize the amount of scratches on the metal by going up in grits, much like you do with sandpaper for woodworking. So I was very impressed with those. If you guys ever have a chance to get those flapper discs for your grinder, try them out. And you'll be amazed how well they work. And sometimes if you try and really polish it up, you might take too much metal away and make a hole in it.
All right. And you just pick those up at Home Depot or Lowe's or?
I got them at Home Depot. I don't know about Lowe's, but I think anywhere that they would sell Diablo products, you should be able to find it. And like I said, I got ours from Home Depot.
Okay. All right. Well, it's kind of funny that I'm going to recommend this, but I'm going to recommend the General Finishes milk paint because I'm about to use a whole lot of it right here on this thing. I've used it on several other projects, and if you know how to layer it with a couple of their other products, you can turn out a pretty awesome antique finish. And so that's what I'm going to be using. And in fact, they sent me all the finishes, all the painting, and their, high performance clear coat, and their, they sent me a bunch of stuff for the table. So I think some gel finishes and stuff. So I'm going to recommend them. I've used them a lot. And I really like how that paint turns out. And it's not a traditional milk paint like the Milk Paint Company. It is a latex finish or latex paint that has the milk paint consistency. So when it paints on, it's painting on like the consistency of milk paint. So, and it's pretty funny because they just cornered the market. They were going after the Milk Paint Company, and now they came out with their chalk paint line, which is still latex paint, but it comes out in the chalky finish. So now they're going over, what is it, Annie Sloan? Is that the big painting, chalk paint that you see everybody using? I
have no clue.
Yeah, I know chalk paint, but I don't know of the type.
Annie Sloan, I think that's a pretty big brand for, like these, like the shabby to chic people that to go and paint.
Chic.
Look,
shabby to chick. Chick.
I'm from Texas. I say chick. You say tomato. I say tomato. So,
and it's shanty.
Look, no, I'm not talking about the two sisters.
I know, but that they still use the same word.
No, I use my words. I'm from Texas.
At least somebody else is catching it.
So
they always get after me on about my pronunciation.
Well, look,
for instance,
I'm not college educated like you there, Drew.
Yeah, for instance, I usually call it Rockler, not Rockler, and so they always give me a hard time about that. It's Rockler, not Rocklear.
It's French.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I think that was a pretty big painting company. I think that is out there for chalk paint, and Fast Cap General Finishes is making their move into that market too. So if you're looking for some good paint consistency for projects, check out General Finishes Milk Paint. Man, now I'm tongue tied.
We're all screwing it up.
Look, you got to give us. It's our first day back after the Thanksgiving holiday, and
we're on turkey brain right now.
Exactly.
How are their prices? General Finishes prices on their products?
It's a little more expensive than like going to pick up some men wax. I think all their different lines vary. I think a quart of the paint's like $17.
Ooh.
But it lasts. A quart of paint will cover a lot, and especially if you're going with the more like antique, and that's what it's for. Like if you're wanting to go with the more antique and put like, distress it or put your glazes over it, that's what it's for. If you're trying to get like a thick, nice paint coverage, then you just need to go with a regular latex-based paint from Sherwood-Williams or wherever you buy your paint. But I think so. I exclusively only use their varnishes because they've just proven to me to be easier to apply, come out with a better finish than like a Minwax polyurethane. And I think like a quart of that runs about like $20. But again, it lasts a lot. So I think a quart will last me, 4 or 5 projects. So
yeah, you definitely have to be careful with that Minwax polyurethane.
Yeah. So
it can be a pain in the what.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's so PC, Russ.
Well, that's good. So I don't have to go through and try to bleep it, Sam.
Yeah. Sam learned the hard way.
Sam probably doesn't even listen to the podcast anymore. So
you're gonna make her feel bad.
Nah. In fact, I just talked to her the other day. Told her happy Thanksgiving. We missed her. We hope she's coming back. So, all right. Well, if you guys would like to support the show, you could do so. Head over to Woodshop 101 Podcast /listen. Find the show notes for today's episode or any show notes, and there will be links for some small recurring donations and for a small one-time donation. Anything helps. And I'm going to announce it, Drew. So are you going to have everything ready by Monday?
By Monday? Yeah, you told me the 5th.
Yeah, I got to have it live by Monday.
I'll do my best.
All right. Well, we are officially going to be back on Patreon. So you can go over to Patreon. There will be a link in the show notes. Look up Woodshop 101 Podcast and support us over there. We are going to be offering, and I don't think we've really talked a lot about it, but we're going to be doing video podcasts over there. So I will be releasing the video version of the podcast over there. If you don't care to see the video, you're still going to get the same great audio from us through iTunes or any of your other RSS feeds. So
we'll just make it slightly staticky.
Yeah. So a little echoey, like we're in the canyon or something.
Right.
But no, so we're making the move back to Patreon, and So you can use both. If you want to use PayPal, you can do that. If you want to go become a Patreon member, you can do that. And we'll get it all sorted out. So when you go to it, when you're listening to this, so it'll be on Monday, hopefully, you will see a whole fresh new Patreon page for us. So
hopefully.
And if you can't donate monetary value, then head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us reach a greater audience because it puts us in the new and noteworthy page. In fact, I went to iTunes today, and you remember that 3-star about the guy like not listening to us?
Right.
Well, his has no long. It's still there, but it doesn't hold any weight because we have I since had more 5 stars. No comments, but we've had 5 stars. So our podcast is back rated at 5 stars.
Sweet.
So, I don't care if you don't listen to us anymore. I mean, I really do. It bugs me.
It really bugs him.
It really bugs me. I don't like it when people don't like me. I really don't care.
We all like being rated high. I mean, that's why we bring on these special guest hosts. So, and like Russell and Todd. And
oh, I'm special.
Think back. Who was our very first?
Our very first? Crap. You put me on the spot. Who's our very first?
He has another podcast.
Did we have Mark? The very first one?
No. Nick
I didn't
Ferry.
think so.
Nick
that's
Ferry.
right, Nick.
Do you even remember what we talked about?
No.
For some reason, this is all coming back to me right now. We talked about woodworking and having a family and how to balance both.
Ah, full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wonder how Nick's doing with that.
I don't know. Nick, you should let us know. So.
All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for listening, but before we sign off, we want to send out some contact information in case you guys want to get in contact with us. And since we have a special guest host, Mr. Russell Claridy, why don't you give everybody your contact information on how they can reach you if they choose to do so?
You can reach me under Simply Wooden Creations on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, on YouTube, and did I say Facebook? Yeah, YouTube, Facebook. Mm-hmm. And if all else fails, just type Simply Wooden Creations in Google, and I will pop up.
And he looks just like Santa Claus, guys. I swear to God. If you see Santa's face pop up, that's him.
There you
but
go.
This guy he's a great scroll sawyer, too, so you really got to check out his work.
Oh, and simplywoodencreations.com.
Oh, well, you should have said that one first.
Well, I forget. I mean, I have so many. I've got into this at my age. I'm 58 years old. I've got into this social media thing. So it's like my grandkids think it's like to have teenage grandkids, and they think it's the coolest thing that their grandfather is on social media.
Well, if you guys want to get in contact with the rest of the crew here, Jeremy and myself, we each have our own individual websites that have all of our social media linked to it, but we also have a fancy contact page that you can fill out, and that will send us an email. Plus, the questions or feedback that you send us through those contacts will be featured on the show, hopefully every now and again. So if you do send us something, be sure and check back. But you can get a hold of Jeremy through countrysideworkshop.com. And myself is rhwoodshop.com. And if you want to get in contact with the podcast itself, you can go to woodshop101podcast.com/listen. You'll find all the episodes there that you can stream on any device whatsoever. And you can send us an email through woodshop101podcast@gmail.com. Send us some feedback, some ratings or questions or whatever you have. But we also have a voicemail that we do feature on the show from time to time when people leave us feedback there. And if you want to hear your own voice on the show, that's the best way to do it. And you can call that number on any phone, landline, whatever. It's area code 409-234-3959. And that pretty much does it. So, guys, this has been a pretty cool episode. Russell, it's been a blast having you. And be sure and tune in on the next episode. We'll have Russell again on our short version as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And we'll see you on the next episode. So from Russell, Jeremy, and myself, we will talk to you guys later. And Russell, we like to give everybody a little bit of a boom sign off. So 1, 2, 3. Boom!